Lanka, 400 BC. Not just mud huts and farming, but Mihintail, one of the world's first hospitals. This wasn't a tent or a healer's hut. It was a purpose-built facility with organized care and a system for treating different ailments. They had patient intake, specialized treatments, and a philosophy of healing that was surprisingly advanced. These hospitals weren't rare. Across India and the Roman Empire, similar institutions appeared. King Ashoka's edicts in India called for hospitals for both people and animals, state-funded, public, and open to all. Treatment ranged from setting bones to internal medicine, using the best knowledge of the time. Sure, there was a spiritual side, but practical medicine was front and center. Herbal remedies, dietary therapy, and important rest. Think of it as the original wellness, only with higher stakes. They even had designated areas for different types of care, like early specialized wards. Some facilities were huge, housing hundreds, with features like bathing and sanitation. It wasn't just about treating illness, but creating an environment for healing. These innovators weren't stumbling in the dark. They were building complex systems to preserve life. They observed, experimented, and pushed the boundaries of what was possible. They were scientists in their own right, using the tools and knowledge they had. The roots of organized healthcare go back much further than we imagine. Our ancestors laid the blueprints for hospitals millennia ago. The universe of human history is expanding, and it started long before we think. In the ancient world, getting sick often meant heading to a temple, like the Asclepions in Greece, dedicated to the god of medicine. These weren't just places of prayer. They blended spiritual rituals with practical care. You'd offer a gift, then participate in temple sleep, hoping for a healing dream. But after your dream, you'd meet a priest-physician who interpreted it, and often prescribed real treatments based on your visions. Dreams about snakes or water could lead to herbal remedies or therapeutic baths. These priest-physicians were keen observers, collecting data from each patient and building a body of medical knowledge. The divine diagnosis was just the start. The real healing was grounded in experience. This model wasn't unique to Greece. Temples in Egypt and India also doubled as hospitals. Illness was seen as both a spiritual and physical challenge, so temples became centers of healing and learning. Monks and priests with time and resources became the first medical specialists. The environment itself, serene architecture, quiet courtyards, ritual purification, was part of the therapy. They treated the whole person, not just the symptoms. The ancients understood that a patient's mind mattered as much as their body. It's a lesson modern medicine sometimes forgets. Healing was holistic, blending science and spirit. The pilot and the vessel both needed care, and the temple was where they met. Ancient medicine wasn't just about grinding leaves or chanting spells. In India, Ayurveda developed a vast pharmacopoeia, thousands of plant-based remedies, each chosen for specific problems. They knew which plants reduced inflammation, which eased pain, and which fought infection. Remedies weren't just simple teas, they made complex powders, even medicinal wine. It was early pharmacology, isolating advanced than we imagine. Surgery in the ancient world wasn't just crude guesswork. In India, Sushruta's surgical encyclopedia described over 120 instruments and detailed procedures from hernia repair to plastic surgery. He pioneered nose reconstruction using forehead skin, a technique still echoed today. These surgeries weren't just cosmetic, they restored dignity and function. Ancient surgeons even tackled cataracts using a needle to push the clouded lens aside. Risky, but sometimes life microscopes. Medical knowledge wasn't just passed down by word of mouth, it was formalized and written. The Academy of Gandhishapur in Persia became a hub for scholars from Greece, India, and beyond, translating and debating medical texts. Textbooks like Hippocrates and Galen's works covered anatomy, diagnosis, and ethics, shaping medicine for centuries. The Hippocratic Oath set a moral standard: do no harm. In India, students studied the Charaka and Sushruta Samhitas, practicing procedures on gourds and lotus stems. Training was hands-on, ancient simulation labs. This education created a standard of care, allowing knowledge to accumulate and improve over generations. Physicians from different cities shared a common foundation. Each generation built on the last, correcting errors and adding discoveries. This was the engine of scientific progress. The ancients weren't just building hospitals, they were building the intellectual infrastructure of medicine. Their textbooks became the backbone of medical tradition, and their lessons still echo in classrooms today. Ancient hospitals weren't just small clinics, they were megastructures. The Roman valetudinarium, built for soldiers, featured private rooms, running water, and surgical suites. Design maximized airflow and light, helping prevent disease. Kitchens, latrines, and staff areas made from marble for logistics. St. Basil's Basiliad in Turkey was a city-sized complex, hospital, hospice, orphanage, and leprosarium, open to all. It marked a shift in healthcare for the public, not just the military. In Cairo, the Mansouri Hospital could hold thousands with separate wards, staff, and even music therapy. These weren't just places to wait for recovery, they were centers of treatment, research, and compassion. Their scale and organization rivaled anything until modern times. They proved that healthcare could be a community responsibility. Ancient mega-hospitals were a testament to human organization and empathy. They set the stage for the hospitals we know today, and they did it centuries before the modern era. Long before germ theory, ancient civilizations understood the link between cleanliness and health. Roman hospitals had fresh water, sewers, and bathing facilities. Public health engineering at its finest. Floors sloped to drain, making cleaning easy and effective like the Roman army knew disease could cripple the legions, so sanitation was a top priority. In India, reproductive systems became sterile systems. Surgeons kept short hair, nails, and no fresh killers. They didn't know about microbes, but they knew uncleanliness led to bad outcomes. This practical wisdom was lost in later European hospitals. Crowded and filthy. The ancients, through observation, discovered that environment changed. They were ahead of their time, studying their biological starters for survival. Cleanliness was their best medicine, and it's still true today. Imagine you're a leg checking into a veterinarian. You'd get a clean ward, a medicus to examine, and careful stitching. Your diet would be managed, herbal remedies given, and nurses would help you recover. The goal: get you back on your feet, ready for duty. Now picture a civilian at a Greek Asclepieion. You'd start with purification rituals, then rest in a peaceful healing involved both mind and body. Quiet contemplation, therapy prescribed by priest physicians. Treatments range from special diets to therapeutic baths. You might stay for days or weeks, immersed in a community focused on health. Patients were active participants in their healing, not just passive recipients. It was a partnership, patient, physician, and the divine. Healing was immersive, holistic, and deeply personal. Ancient hospitals understood that recovery happened on many levels. Looking back at ancient hospitals is like peering through a telescope at a distant galaxy. The light is old, but the message is clear. The drive to heal and organize against suffering is ancient, not modern. These institutions show that progress isn't a straight line. Knowledge is gained, lost, and rediscovered. The Romans had sanitation that outclassed later centuries. Indian surgeons performed operations medieval Europe. Thousands of years ago.